safe and the cat would move on to the next house. If not, the child would be gobbled up, provided Grilla didn't get there first, we suppose. So the next time you're bummed about getting socks for Christmas, just think that they help to protect you from the Yule Cat. Number 6. Mary Lude. As if you weren't scared enough, here comes a Welsh skeletal horse spirit. Mary Lude, or Ye Fairy Lude in Welsh, is a custom in which revelers will visit your home while carrying a horse skull that's been decked during the holidays with ribbon, bells, and a sheet to give the whole affair a ghostly appearance. The Mary Lude trope will engage the owner in a battle of verses and insults. If the trope has the cleverest rhymes, they're allowed in for drinks and food, while Mary Lude will scare away anything unwanted from the ear. Even if the owner wins the verse battle, they still let in the trope for this reason. Like many of the creatures in the list, Mary Lude's origins are lost, though there's a long history of white horses in British folklore, with horses themselves representing power and fertility. Okay, so there you have a few Christmassy legends you guys can look into for some more info if you so desire. I will leave the sources in the description. Next up, I have 5 true Christmas ghost stories to keep you awake until Santa comes. Christmas and ghost stories may not ultimately seem like two great tastes that taste great together, but they're actually a perfectly natural fit. Although it's largely forgotten now, the practice of gathering around the fire to tell spooky stories was a popular Victorian Christmas tradition for years, as evidenced in this line from It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year. There'll be scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago. Okay, so, funny little thought real quick. I have never noticed it said ghost stories in the song until sometime like last week. I was playing this at work. I had the song in my head after the day, and I was thinking about it. I'm like, did they say ghost stories, or did I just imagine that? No, they definitely said ghost stories, and I just read this now, and it confirmed it. Weird. Didn't know that was a thing. Kinda wish we still did that. Anyways, the Dickens classic, A Christmas Carol, is probably the only remaining tale of a haunting that most of us associate with the holidays. But why let the ghosts of Christmases past, present, and yet to come have all the fun? Here, for your festively creepy pleasure, are 5 Christmas ghost stories that may send chills down your spine, or even, oddly enough, warm your heart. This one is called The Bright Light and the Calm Watchdog. I had an unusual visitor on Christmas Day, 2008, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't Santa Claus passing by my house in Bloomington, Indiana. The day started in typical fashion with the opening of gifts around the Christmas tree. I served an early Christmas dinner for family and friends, and everybody departed by 5 p.m., except my sister and brother-in-law who live with me. They were sleeping in a bedroom at the end of the hall with the door open. I went into my bedroom with my dog, Toby, and shut the door securely. I was just dozing off when I heard the latch on my bedroom door open. I waited several seconds for my sister or brother-in-law to ask me whatever they came in to say, but there was no other sound. It was almost 7 p.m., so my bedroom was pitch black. I had left lights on in the kitchen and the bathroom, and there were lots of Christmas lights in the living room, so the hallway would have been well lit. I would be able to see whoever was at the door just by lifting my head. I pushed the blankets down and lifted my head from the pillow. But just as I would have been able to see who was in the doorway, an extremely bright light hit me right in the eyes. I shielded my eyes and yelled, "Turn that fucking light off! You're blinding me!" The light immediately disappeared, and then I heard the bedroom door latch close. My bedside light is a touch lamp, so I tapped on it and looked around the bedroom. There was no one in the bedroom except me and Toby. Toby jumped off the bed and went to the door without showing any signs of alarm. At first I wasn't frightened because Toby is a Dutch Shepherd, well trained to be an excellent watchdog and proven personal protection dog. Since Toby was already up, I decided to let him go outside and see what sis or brother-in-law needed. When I went into the hallway, I could see both of them still in bed. I took Toby to the living room and let him outside, and there was nobody there either. So, who opened my bedroom door and turned a spotlight on my face? Like most people, the thoughts of loved ones are always close at hand during the holiday season. When I first went to lie down, I was thinking how happy I was that my small family had enjoyed a pleasant Christmas, but it would have been so much better if my mother and brother had still been alive to share it with us. I would like to think it was my brother's spirit stopping by to say, "Merry Christmas, I still think of you too." I haven't been able to debunk this strange event or find any kind of rational explanation. I'm half afraid that my heart stopped during my sleep and the light I saw was the bright light people report in their near-death experiences. Leave it to me to see the stairway to heaven and ruin my chance at eternal paradise by saying, "Turn out that fucking light." I've made a mental note that if I ever see another bright light, to clean up my language, just in case. This next story is called The Returned Relative. It was Christmas time of 1995 or 96 at my aunt's house on a reservation in North Dakota. Some of my family was in the living room watching television. The kids were playing in the rooms or sleeping, and my uncle, aunt, and I were sitting at the table putting a puzzle together. My cousin, who worked at a casino, would come home around midnight or 1 a.m.-ish. This night, as she pulled up and was walking towards the house, she looked in the window and saw me sitting at the table, my uncle sitting across from me, and someone standing to the left of me, and someone standing in the corner. So she continued to walk in the house, thinking nothing of it. As we were sitting there talking, she looked at me and asked who was standing next to me a few minutes ago and who was in the corner. I told her no one, and she said, "Yeah, there was someone standing next to you. It looks like your mom, and she was playing with your hair." I have long hair, which I used to wear down all the time. She said this person was running her hand on my hair like a mother does to a child. It kind of freaked me out, being that I was probably only 12 or 13 at the time. My cousin swears up and down that someone was standing over me, rubbing my head and watching me put the puzzle together with my aunt and uncle, and there was another person standing behind this person. We got around to thinking it was probably her mom she saw. She passed away on her birthday a week before Christmas back in 1992. In my family, we consider our aunts and uncles to be just like our moms and dads. After thinking that it could have been her, it didn't scare me so much. However, we couldn't figure out who the person was standing in the corner. And always around Christmas time, something strange happens, and we just think it's her visiting us. This next one is called The Haunted Tree. My parents and I lived in a small home that was around 90 years old. The year would have been 1996. We lived there from the time I was 7 years old to the time I was 19. From the very day that we moved in, I felt that I was not alone. One year around Christmas time, I was having a friend spend the night. The heat had shut off briefly, and she and I were sitting in the living room watching television when the temperature dropped substantially. As I rose to turn on the heat, the Christmas tree began to shake violently. Ornaments were falling off left and right, and she and I were terrified. We ran upstairs and lay down on my bed. My white cat curled up with us, and my door was open slightly. When I gazed out at the dark hallway, I was horrified to see a tall, white figure run down the hall. I turned to my friend, and she acknowledged that she had seen the exact same thing. She never spent the night again. Next one is called The Figure in the Recliner. My mother, to whom I was very close, passed away in 1964 when I was 17 years old. I left home that year and moved to Ontario from Nova Scotia. In 1969, I met a girl whom I will call Karen, and we got married in March of 1970. In December of 1971, we were expecting our first child. We were living in a small 1.5 bedroom bungalow, and there was a fireplace in the living room. My wife and I loved the fireplace, and we had it lit every night. It was Christmas Eve, 1971, and we had just finished putting the gifts under the tree, and a nice fire gave off a beautiful glow. On the tree, one string of lights, which was supposed to flash, had stopped several days before. It was 5 minutes to midnight when the fireplace suddenly just about went out, and the string of lights started to flash. And the other lights stopped flashing. My wife and I were sitting on the floor, and it had become very chilly in the room. I looked over to my lazy boy chair, and a figure was sitting there, my mother with a big, beautiful smile on her face. My wife, who had never met my mother, said she could see the same thing. This ghost never spoke, but just kept looking at me and my wife smiling. At midnight, the fire in the fireplace started up again, and the lights on the tree stopped flashing and the others started flashing again. I looked over in the chair and the ghost was gone. No matter what I did to those Christmas lights, they never flashed again. Next up is The Ghostly Christmas Choir. On Christmas Eve night, 1978, at about 3 a.m. in Klamath Falls, Oregon, I was suddenly awakened by a choir singing. The house was new construction, miles from the nearest church. I strained to hear any words that I could understand, or a tune that I could identify, but I could not understand the language or the tune. I did get a feeling of angelic exaltation, reverence, and gladness of heart. This was truly a heavenly choir, lifting their voices on high, singing Hosanna in the highest, in an unknown tongue, without the accompaniment of instruments. I examined the television, but it was turned off, as was the radio. I explored outside, but the singing was not heard outdoors. The way the countless male, female, and children's voices entwined together, the tonals going from operatic highs to the deepest bass voices in perfect harmony. It must have lasted about 10 minutes, but it was touching for an eternity. Well, that's all I got for your creepy Christmas. Let us know what you think. Do you know of any spooky holiday traditions or ghostly stories? We would love to hear them. Also, check our Instagram page in the next couple of days. We'll be doing some fun things on there for Christmas. We'll have some fun voting and stuff going on. I wish you all a happy holiday season, and we will be back in 2020. Stay spooky, but most importantly, stay safe.
That wraps up the Spooky Scary Show. If you've enjoyed this podcast, click that like or follow button. We are available on Spotify, iTunes, and all major podcast streaming services. Spooky Scary Show is an independent podcast with big dreams. So if you would like to show your support, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Spooky Scary Show. Also, join in on the conversation. Follow us on Instagram at Spooky Scary Show for science and spooky facts. Scary you later. Spooky.
We went to the wedding last weekend and we were driving home flung over the next day, and we were both trying to like put together what had happened the night before, or the night after. The night before. And we were telling stories, and I now tell a story, and I was like, oh, I get why people don't like me.
Not to toot my own horn, or not to toot my own horn, but toot motherfucking toot. Oh, I get it.
Well, I'm glad you had that moment of self-realization.
I'm not for everyone. It's fine.
You are so for me, though. I love it so much. Toot motherfucking toot.
Welcome. We are the Ladies of Strange. I'm Ashley.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Rebecca.
Thank you for joining us each week as we discuss
the history, mystery, and theory
of all things questionable, odd, and eerie.
Why are you looking at us judgingly?
Because Tiffany sounded like she had her newscaster voice.
Why not?
I apologize, but this is my NPR voice. There is a distinction.
She engaged intro voice. She's learning from the best.
I am.
Cool. Her intro voice isn't as good as his, but...
kindly fudge off. I had to remember that at NPR, I cannot curse on the radio.
No.
Satellite waves and schnaz.
Sweaty balls.
Rebecca, are you going to be using your NPR voice to tell us a story today?
No, was not planning on that. But I can tell you about the giveaway
I was just about to say, Tiffany, you want to use your NPR voice and tell them about our giveaway?
Hello, one and all. This is Tiffany here from the Ladies of Strange, and I just wanted to remind you about our 100 iTunes review giveaway. Once we hit that wonderful 100 iTunes reviews, we will be giving out a special prize. Prizes include
stickers, button, merch, and some other fun stuff that we're going to throw in there.
Exclusives. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be a great time. So get your ratings and reviews in if you would like to be eligible. Remember, once we hit 100, the contest closes. Thank you.
It'd be really awkward if between last week and now we hit 100.
Then we'll cut this shit out. If we hit 100 in a week,
oh girl,
y'all some serious strangers, and I appreciate you.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
No?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay, y'all both
Yeah,
just
yeah,
looked
no,
at me
yeah.
like, question that?
Yeah, no, yeah. It took me a second to remember that we were the Ladies of Strange. So I was like, strangers? Oh, yeah.
We haven't been doing this for over a year. It's fine. Well, with that little piece of business gotten out of the way, we're done with it. Are y'all ready for a story?
Yes.
Now that I broke Ashley.
We were both strapped in.
So, the scene.
Ooh.
Aimo Koivunen was a World War II Finnish...
You don't say. Did you just speak words? Are you having a stroke? Are you okay?
I can't talk.
Becky, are you okay? Are you okay, Becky?
Becky, are you okay?
Apparently the wrong sibling had speech therapy.
I'm okay with it. Shibba, 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 shibba.
So, fuck. So, So, this dude who was a Finnish soldier in 1944 for World War II, obviously, because that's what was going on. It was the big thing in the world at that time. It's a gas. So,
Right, get it together,
specifically, Finland was fighting their neighbors, which was the USSR or the United something Soviet Russia.
Yeah, yes.
Whatever.
United something. That is correct. USSR.
So, quick timeline so we all know where we are in the great scheme of things. In 1939, so right around the time the war started. Yes, Tiffany, did you raise your hand?
I did. That was also the time of our Polish Glen Coco.
Mm-hmm.
Continue.
It was.
How many times? Oh, sorry. I'm going to stop interrupting, but I'm
You're
really
not.
happy. No, I'm not. I'm really happy that we have given World War II timelines and like 10 episodes, and it makes me happy. I love it.
Well, we got to know what's going on.
I know.
And this time I specifically looked at what was going on around Soviet Russia.
Ooh, we haven't done that one yet.
No, we haven't. I mean, it's short because I didn't dive all that deep into it. But in 1939, on August 23rd, Germany and the Soviet Union signed the Nazi-Soviet Non-Aggression Pact. In 1941, Germany broke its pact.
Sounds about right.
With Soviet Russia, and Germany invaded on June 23rd. But Germany's army was no match for the Soviet army and Russian winters.
Ooh, fair.
And then the Soviets joined the Allies in 1942. So you got to remember, in June of 1941, they broke the pact and started fighting. In 1942, on August 21st, the Battle of Stalingrad begins and goes until Germany's surrender on February 2nd, 1943. So they fought up until the most coldest point of winter and just said, nah, brah.
Right?
We're done.
To be fair, it drops below 50 in Georgia, and I'm like, what the hell happened? Give me my fire.
That was everyone at work today. It's like, it's fine, guys.
Oh, I've had my heater on since June. No joke. You walk into that office and it is on.
Oh, she's not kidding. It's toasty in there.
It's great.
So, what comes after 1943? 1944. Thank you.
Oh, I lost my sock.
1944.
So, what's going on in 1944? On June 6th, we have...
D-Day?
Yes.
D-Day!
You got it this time.
I did. That one always trips me up.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
So, the day the
6-6.
beaches of Normandy were stormed on July 20th, failed assassination attempt of Hitler, August 4th, Anne Frank and family are discovered. August 25th, the Allies liberate Paris.
Oui, oui.
So, why are we talking about Finland?
Because nobody ever does. And they need their moment.
Yeah,
in the sun.
that is partially. Yeah, pretty much.
In the sun, but it's really cold there. The sun's not out as much.
Finland had been at war with the USSR since 1939. The dispute was mainly over ownership of ports up north in St. Petersburg. Luckily for Finland, Stalin was a little preoccupied with joining Hitler and his cause. I put cause in like
Double
quotes.
quotes.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like cause.
And that
was
His
Gotta
cause.
adopt that.
endeavors.
Oh.
Yeah. No.
And his fuckery.
And his Tom
Tomfuckery.
While the world was at war, Finland was concerned with keeping what they considered was theirs. The USSR still managed to find time to drive back Finland after about 900 days. It was at this time that Aimo Koivunen, I'm calling him Imo, during the rest of this story because I can't pronounce his last name.
Imo, Yumo.
Weemo.
And his unit are on the third day of their mission when they're surrounded by the Red Army.
Dun, dun, dun.
What happens? So, we have Amo in Murmansk, Russia in March of 1944. On the third day of their mission, his unit is surrounded by the Red Army. They're all on skis, as far as I can tell. All of them, because there's snow.
Whoa, sorry. I just got an image of people fighting war on skis, and that should not be funny, but oh my god,
It's
the
funny.
foolery.
You're welcome, because that's what's happening.
Oh, this is amazing.
Amo and some of his comrades managed to escape, so obviously the Red Army gives chase on skis.
But I'm not even mad. I'm impressed. I can't even stand up on skis.
So they're escaping for hours on skis. I say on skis a lot, so you're just going to have to get on board with it. And Amo is getting tired. Amo is getting tired.
he's take a nap and some run away on the skis.
But we're Georgia kids. We don't understand this, but Amo is the one in the front, so he's breaking down the snow for everybody, making it easier for the guys behind him to move forward, but it's a really hard job for him.
Oh.
And on top of that, it's getting dark, and the Russians are still after them.
Why won't they just give up? It's cold. Go home.
the Russians like the cold.
They do.
Go home.
Soviet Russia, cold as you.
So, desperate, Amo had an idea. He was carrying his unit supply of Pervitin, an early form of amphetamine.
Methamphetamine?
Tiffany goes from 0 to 100 real fast. And there's no in between. It's just either
0 or 100.
Woo, we're gone. So, which is appropriate because we're going to talk about amphetamines for a little bit.
Oh, there we go.
So today, amphetamines are known for treating attention deficit disorder or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder.
I did go to 100. Sorry, guys. I didn't realize those were amphetamines.
Those aren't amphetamines. Those are stuff that's treated by amphetamines.
Yeah, I know. I didn't realize that stuff, that the treatments were that. Anytime that somebody says that, I immediately think, oh,
Meth.
I've only heard that with meth. We're from Georgia.
Fair.
So some popular amphetamines are Ritalin or Adderall.
Ah.
So many things are clicking in your head right now.
Yes, so many.
So
She's on her amphetamines.
extended use can cause, if not taken as prescribed, increased body temperature, blood pressure and pulse rates, insomnia, loss of appetite, or physical exhaustion. Chronic abuse produces a psychosis that resembles schizophrenia, so paranoia, hallucinations, violent and or erratic behavior. Stimulants like amphetamines could potentially cause sudden death, stroke, or a heart attack in people with pre-existing conditions such as high blood pressure or heart disease.
Got it.
Amphetamines can cause psychosis in those who have experienced mental illnesses such as depression or bipolar disorder.
So a lot of people who take things like Ritalin and Adderall
Also suffer from
Yes.
other mental health issues. Let's keep throwing drugs at him. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, important to note,
Okay.
I'm immediately following this, important to note, while this can be prescribed and can be a successful treatment to certain diagnoses, this is a habit-forming controlled substance, so ask your doctor. I am not your doctor. Do not listen to me.
Got it. Okay. Now, I'm not saying I'm against drugs because I am currently on some to regulate my moods. I was just confused because that seemed counterintuitive.
Yeah, especially since amphetamines are kind of known to like hype you up or get you going. It seems counterintuitive to prescribe them to someone who
Already has trouble.
has trouble focusing, but it seems it works.
Hey, if it works, it's fine.
So now we're going to move on to common street names for amphetamines.
Meth.
There are other more creative ones. Bennies, Black Beauties, Crank, Ice, Speed, Uppers, Crystal Meth, Regular Meth, Whip, Gooey, Shards, Rocks, Whiz, and Dexies.
Gooey.
Don't get excited.
I was getting excited. I remembered what we were talking about, but gooey, I think of those ooey gooey cookies that are delicious.
The Goo Goo clusters?
No, ooey gooeys.
Okay.
I watch too much Food Network. Continue.
Okay. So amphetamines can be taken orally or intravenously, or crystallized methamphetamine is smoked, or so I'm told. Best description of how it affects the body. So like cocaine, but a more controlled release over a longer duration.
I did not know that. So is coke and amphetamine?
I'd have to look into that, because even though the effects might be similar, I don't know the chemical makeup of cocaine, and I don't know the chemical makeup of amphetamine, and I don't chemistry. So
Fair. So we'll ask our coworker tomorrow.
I don't black magic. So why am I telling you about amphetamines? Because the Germans used a lot of them. So one website called Pervitin, the German granddaddy of crystal meth.
See, I didn't go straight to 100 on my own.
And was apparently very popular among German soldiers and was used by many Nazi officials, but not necessarily Hitler. There's no documentation of him trying amphetamines, but he tried pretty much everything else as far as I can tell.
Cracked out Nazis might be one of the most terrifying things that I've heard in a really long time.
Right?
That's fair.
So
I don't like where this is headed.
So Pervitin was invented by the Temmler Pharmaceutical Company in Berlin and was marketed as a magic pill for alertness and antidepressant, briefly being available over the counter for a short time.
Fantastic.
I mean, we did have cocaine and coke for a while, so I'm not shocked.
You have ghost in your blood. Do cocaine about it.
Exactly.
This drug was widely used by German soldiers to be able to march longer and need less sleep. They also ate less because none of them were hungry, because that's what it does. Anyway,
We could just march all night, coach.
back to the skis. We're back at the skis.
Oh my God, drugged up people skiing.
Just
hours.
Just one.
Oh, okay.
So Amo has been under pursuit for hours on skis. He is tired. He is also carrying the Pervitin. So he has an idea.
Wait, the Pervitin, like
The early
Pervitin for the
early
entire
version of amphetamines.
so, but no, I'm saying the Pervitin, like for the
Yes.
for his
Group. Yes.
the entire group.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So he has an idea. He should take some of this drug to help him out.
Sure.
I mean,
This is never a good idea unless a doctor tells you to, kids.
or unless you're being chased by the USSR, that is no longer a thing.
So, yeah, but
True. If I'm going out, I'm going out. Hi.
so because he's under pursuit on skis, he's wearing gloves. The plan was to take one Pervitin, but due to his gloves, he poured the entire bottle into his hand, about 30 pills, and opened hatch.
Well, that was not very smart, friend.
This is gonna get good.
Story over. He passed out. They caught him. The end.
So they didn't catch him.
Oh,
So Amo had a short burst of energy. Can you imagine like him just like burst of energy, just like skiing so far past the rest of his comrades?
Like in Mario Kart where you hit the booster.
anytime I hit that, I ran off the track. So,
But the short burst of energy was shortly followed by a delirious state.
Banana peels.
Shortly after which he passed out.
oh,
Is that him following off Rainbow Road?
Yeah, it is. It's me, Mario. Okay.
I have questions
About Mario Kart
no,
or drugs?
drugs. Should I reserve them for the end?
Yeah, because this is going to be a short story, guys. Sorry.
I'm excited. Okay.
So when he woke, he was alone with no supplies except his rifle, some water, and what he was wearing. Thankfully, Amos still feared being caught, so he pushed forward. He eventually ended up stepping on a landmine, injuring himself. Sources were vague on how exactly he injured himself. So
By being exploded by a landmine?
but like it
maybe?
didn't say like was there shrapnel? Did he lose his leg? Like details,
The
please.
snow helped pad the explosion.
Speaking of the snow, after the landmine, he decided to just chill in a ditch for help to come.
Okay.
So he waited for up to a week, after which it was obvious no one was coming for him. So he hopped back on his skis and kept going.
What? Not even a St. Bernard?
Did he have like extra amphetamines in his bag to keep going or something?
Okay, this will make sense in a little bit. So, though the amphetamine suppressed his appetite, he did munch on some pine straw, yum, and
Ew.
managed to capture a Siberian jay to eat.
What is a Siberian jay?
A bird.
Okay.
They
Birds
were
aren't real.
still around at that time. It's okay.
Oh, that's right.
So, important to know, both of these substances he ate raw.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you do what you gotta do.
Also, it's Russia. Did I mention it was freezing? Because it was about negative 20 degrees Celsius or negative 4 degrees Fahrenheit.
No. You say Tiffany tired. Her body's shutting down just thinking about it that cold.
Done with this story. So Amo ended up traveling around 250 miles from his point of origin. After being found, yes, he was finally found, he was taken to a hospital where his heartbeat was measured at 200 beats per minute and weighed only 94 pounds.
What the heck?
Despite all of this, Amo died in 1989.
Whoa.
At the age of 72.
Yes.
King Mo. And that is the story of the Finnish World War II soldier on amphetamines.
Whoa. Look at you go, sir. Woo, woo, woo,
on
woo.
skis the entire time.
That is fantastic. Okay, I have questions. Question
number fun.
So I'm assuming since it's such a large dose, the effects were pretty quick. But like again, I don't take large portions of
drugs.
What's the word drugs? Yes. But
doses?
You need to let it build up in your system before the effects really take hold. Like, was this one of those things he took 30 of these, World War II, so I'm sure they were a bit stronger than they are now.
We don't know.
Took 30 and then just like, pew, ready to go? Or like, took 30 and he was like, all right, I need to keep pushing. And then after like an hour, he got a little more energy and then a little bit more.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm guessing it was probably pretty quick because back then the capsules were usually just the drug itself pressed into a pill form. There was no slow release capsules.
No, I forgot about those.
So it was probably pretty quick.
On the flip side, we don't necessarily know what the dosage was. We don't know how pure the substance was. But at the same time, if you're taking 30 of them, and on top of that, you're exercising pretty heavily, this is going to hit your system pretty quickly and pretty hard.
And if he had meant to only take one, he probably knew what the effects would be.
And then he was like, fuck it. And then,
Now, we don't know if the rest of his platoon or whatever was captured. I mean, I'm assuming they were.
I actually didn't say.
Okay. Well, this guy is a champ.
Or he was on so many drugs, this was all made up.
Well, I think if you show up to a hospital weighing 90 pounds and...
I mean, he could have gotten lost, but I mean, like, the scenario and being out there with the rest of your men, like, it could have all just been a facade. He might have just been on, like, a solo ski venture and saw a tree that looked funny, and he was like, it's the USSR!
I mean, schizophrenia is a symptom.
Oh, I forgot about that.
No, not symptoms.
No.
Side effect.
Side effect.
Yeah. Side effect.
Oh, man.
Don't do drugs, kids.
What a journey. Now, what is the climate like in Finland normally?
Kind of the same as Russia.
Oh, okay. So he's like kind of cold or kind of used to the cold and...
Yeah.
Okay. But damn. Could you imagine? No. No, it drops to 50 and I'm pissed. I'm not okay with this story.
It's like 20.
For the record, guys, today was the first day in Georgia. It dropped into the 30s for a prolonged part of the day. Now, right now it's below freezing and most of Georgia's pissed about it.
It's 27 right now.
I'm angry.
If
you were to send me outside right now in
you would tell me
skis and what I like, even the whole like military get up, I would be cold and angry and I would sit down and pout like a toddler.
And that's why you're not a service person.
I don't wanna. It's cold.
I don't like to throw temper tantrums, but I'm not above it.
The military is not for everyone, and that's okay. That's why we're always appreciative of those who are and have served.
I salute all of those.
Because Tiffany would be like, not going to do it.
I would, push come to shove, I would do what I have to do. I'm just very grateful that I'm not in the situation where I need to do what I gotta do.
You might complain the entire time you're doing it.
Push come to shove, you would be shoved past your breaking point.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd be like, fine, just go home. Just go home. I don't care anymore. Just go home. You would break a drill sergeant.
I'm imagining Tiffany past her breaking point, and it's like in the Lego movie when Princess Unicorn gets angry. It's kind of like that.
Her head would spin around and she would
I'm real nice, but when I get dark, I get dark. Oh, good. Yes.
That was fun.
Whereas Ashley's kicking butt and still singing "Everything Is Awesome."
Yeah.
Be a man, you must be swift as the coursing river.
Be a man
With all the strength of a great
typhoon.
Damn.
I thought you were cutting in.
I know.